Hello and welcome to Connections Forum, our weekly hangout show on Thursdays. Today we are in episode 35. Our episode involves a series of talks and interviews regarding the most of human life, such as relationship issues, personal expression, self-development, also cultural development.
Heidi, I think that Heidi has been kicked off the hangout, so we're going to continue. And I'm Margarita Cristalotis, and yes, I don't know what's happening here. It's 9/11 anyway, and yeah, it's 9/11 here, and we have lost Heidi. So have patience with us for a moment while she's getting back in. Okay, let me see where she is. There she is. Here she comes. Very wonderful.
Here I am again. I hope so.
Yeah. So you can start over with the introduction, I think, if you like.
Yeah. I don't see you yet, but I hope you see me. So I was saying the purpose of our show is to give you inspiration and also to teach you new skills with which to handle the issues which are connected with our topics. And our topic of today, we are in episode 4 of our mini-series Your Voice Counts. Our topic is, does your inner self-talk drive you crazy? Learn how to handle the constant thought stream and find out your authentic voice. So I'm Heidi Hörnlein, or Adelheid Hörnlein. I'm a transformational coach and also a voice coach and a relationship counselor. And I work with people who don't feel completely developed yet, completely self-developed, self-actualized, and I help them to reach their goals. So far to me, Margarita?
Yes, and I'm Margarita Cristalotis, and I am a life and business mentor, and I use my intuition to guide my clients so that they can become free of the emotional burdens that they carry and also be happy in their chosen profession. And I also have a retreat place here in Kingston called Enchantment, and where I invite my personal clients and to events and stuff like that. And I am really excited to talk about this topic today with Heidi, and because the topic is so important for us to be contented and happy in our life.
Yeah, so for a little bit of an introduction, self-talk is the constant chatter in our heads, and it can drive us crazy sometimes, and especially when it becomes repetitive thoughts. And the agony of these racing thoughts and possible unstoppable reactions to these thoughts causes many people to experience stress and overwhelm. According to the American Institute of Stress, and that's Margarita who has found that out, the current annual cost in the US to employers due to stress-related health care and missed work is $300 billion US. And in 73% of people who regularly experience psychological symptoms point to stress as the cause. Top reasons for stress is firstly job pressure, then money issues, and thirdly compromised health, and then followed by issues within personal relationship. And increased stress levels can result in physical symptoms. We know that all, like sleeplessness, anger, anxiety, nervousness, and lack of energies. We are talking here mainly about negative self-talk, but there is also positive self-talk. We know that by mantra singing, by affirmations, and what is my my speciality, transformational self-talk. In this episode, we will discuss how to deal with the inner self-talk and we will give some strategies for calming the mind. And at the end, Margarita will guide you in a short meditation. So, Margarita, I give over to you.
Yes, and when it comes to this thing about self-talk, what it constitutes is this internal chatter inside of the mind, and when that can't be turned off, it's like a radio station inside, and I'm sure every one of you have actually experienced that to different degrees. I mean, it could be so difficult to, like, the thoughts are going in such a great speed that you can't turn it off, and then it leads to, you know, racing thoughts and real anxiety or panic attacks. So there is a degree with which we have a control of that inner thought stream. When you are less affected by it, you could say, oh yeah, I have this thought, and then I change it immediately. But if you're to a great deal affected by it, then it becomes a really difficult problem in your life, because you can't really handle too many things other than that. And so, correct me if I'm wrong here, Heidi, there is like four types of self-talk in this way. And that is when we're worrying. When we worry about this and we worry about that, and those worries really have no foundation in the real life most of the time. We just project that. And the other one is, this could be done better. I could do this better. I could do this better. And being this perfectionist persona taking over and saying, that's not good, which is self-criticism, basically. And the fourth thing is like treating yourself as a victim, like, I cannot deal with this right now. You know, it's for me. Like you cannot get out of those personas, like the perfectionist or the victim, or, you know, the narcissist. Let's say they have all their written preset scripts inside, so that we could do a whole thesis about that. So, do you have a comment about that, Heidi?
Yeah, I would say that's not only four, because you were saying this is the whole script. According to what belief is your core belief, you have a certain chatter pattern in your mind. So probably there are more than four. But before we go into our talk, we want to say to our listeners that we had invited George Green, and he has given us already in a pre-recording wonderful answers to these questions. He couldn't come on this show live, so we did a pre-recording. And Margarita, would you like to tell us what was going on?
Yeah, we unfortunately, so what we wanted to do here was to, I'm going to change the blue box here. What we wanted to do was to stream this interview live here today. It's impossible. We have researched, and right now there is absolutely impossible to, unless you're a rocket scientist or something, to actually stream a lot of video from where we are with the bandwidth issues and such things. And so we had to decide, okay, so we can't do that, but we will share this episode in a couple of days. And this interview with George Green is something that you really could have benefit of. It's a beautiful interview, and he did a great job. So thank you, George, for doing that. And
yeah, and we invite our watchers, our listeners, to engage with us. And so together we can walk and talk on this topic.
So what would you say, Heidi, about the positive self-talk? Not only the negative, but there's a positive. What would you say about that?
I think the positive self-talk is a very, very important means to change yourself and to change your unconscious mind. Because, you know, we have conditioned our unconscious mind for so long time with all these unconscious self-talks, which are going on all the time. And you cannot change the unconscious mind by an act of will, saying, now I think differently. That doesn't work. You have to remind yourself and then really talk to yourself in a different way. And not in a way like we are normally used to. Oh, again, you have thought this bad thought. You shouldn't do that. You should say this good talk now. Say this, you know. No, you need to recognize that you were in the negative self-talk, but then be, you know, like with a little child. Tell this little child, you know, this is not so nice when you say this. But look, how it is. It is not as bad as you think. It's good. Look, here is something good. And then tell yourself the same story in a positive way, and over and over and over again. So real change can happen in a deep level.
Yeah, you describe that very beautifully, Heidi.
Yeah, let me put up a comment of Ivana. Can you put it up?
Yeah, self-talk occurs to me like the ego struggling to protect you from something new that you're up to. Beautifully.
It might be. It might be that it is protecting. It has many, many, many goals, the self-talk, and protection is a very, 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 very big one. Let us see what Mike says. Can you bring them up, the comments? Oh, you are on the other computer, I guess.
Yeah, so. Can you see it now?
Yeah, I cannot see it on the screen. So I can also read it. Mike says, stress is not an emotion. It's a term created to explain the physical and psychological reactions to long-term exposure to anxiety. What do you say about that?
Well, I think Mike is really right. If we want to be precise, it's a result for sure. And you're right about that. Stress is a condition, right? It's a negative state that the body and the mind is in. And it could be considered as like any other disease or condition that we may have on the physical plane. I think your comment is well put there, Mike.
Okay, now we put up the comment from Yassine, and he says stress is an emotion, telling you you are not on your path anymore. Time for some new choices, new informations, new knowledge, new inspirations, new inspired actions, updating your perception, your beliefs, a refreshed, lovely life. What a journey. And I will answer to that for a minute. I think it is a question of definition. You say stress is an emotion, Mike says stress is not an emotion, and Margarita has pointed out that stress probably is the result of various emotions. And what you write here, that it is a time for, that is an indicator that there is a change to be happen. If you listen to this voice, and stress is a sort of a voice to you, if you listen to it, it might say, you have to change your path. You have to do all these things, what you say, do new choices, go to find new informations, new knowledge, new inspired action. It is so true. Would you like to add something?
Yeah, I think that your point of view there is well taken also, because as Heidi said, it is a matter of definition. Stress is a wake-up call. You know, in the same way as when you get the notice from your doctor saying you have terminal cancer. It's something like similar, but on sort of a mental, emotional level. Of course, there is stress that is directly physical, which, you know, physical stress like carpal tunnel syndrome, and you have stress, you have tensions in your physical body that not necessarily have to be emotional as such. So it's a wide concept that we're trying to embrace here.
Yeah, wonderful. I wonder, Margarita, would you like to invite people to talk?
Yes. Okay, so we have a live link here. I'm going to take this link, and if somebody wants to come in and in the Hangout, you can do so. And now I have to go to the page. Can you see that? Can you post that, Heidi, on the link in the chat? I put it in our personal chat there. I think we lost Heidi there. Can people see me? I think we lost Heidi, so I think to invite other people is not going to be happening today. I will wait for Heidi to come back in. In the meantime, we can actually evaluate what kind of stress we have. We can have stress from, let's say, money, stress from your job situation, and stress in various other areas of your life, like in relationship, and also stress from inside of yourself that you experience. So this is a huge topic, I think, and today is 9/11. I don't know, the energies are so extremely strong here, and I don't know if the internet itself is affected. So right now I have not access to the chat stream or anything right now, and if you are on the page, just hang in there for a moment when so we can come back. We will have to actually experience some of these things with Hangouts, and we have to just flow with the punches, right? But in the meantime, we can actually plan some strategies, and if you want to make some comments about that, that you can actually have some strategies to deal with stress. But the topic of this show is the self-talk. So it's the talk inside that directs how and what thoughts we will have. And here we have Heidi back. Are you there, Heidi? Can you hear us?
I'm here back, hopefully. I have put the link on the event page, so who wants to come in directly and talk with us, especially with Margarita, because I have internet problems today. She might otherwise be completely alone.
Yes. So what else?
Please come and join us.
Yeah. Anyway, we talked about a little bit about some of the strategies to actually deal with stress. I mean, we can be really stressed right now because we have the technical problems, and Heidi's going in and out, you know, like a ghost in the door, and she comes back in, but you know she's there. And it's unfortunate that these problems happen. So if we are not able to, okay, here she comes again. and you see, I have a little strategy for dealing with stress. I mean, I will have to really improvise here, right? And some of the strategies is to actually really notice what's going on. I mean, I'm paying attention to the page and the stream and to your comments and to Heidi going in and out, and we have a page here that we're streaming from, so it's many components here. Meanwhile, outside of my house here in Kingston, Ontario, there was like a vivid storm, huge winds, and the cat went to hide and everything like that. So there is a lot of things that's going on. And so what I did to reduce the stress of not being able to put the video on and all of these things is to notice, yes, I cannot do that right now, but it doesn't mean that I have to stress myself or say difficult things to myself and say you should have done that before or something like that. I stay present as much as I can.
Yeah, the same thing is with me. I would say I'm not good enough because I checked it out before. My speed test was good, and and probably I did something wrong with putting up the comment tracker or whatever it was. Now I say to myself, okay, this morning twice for quite a time the internet was away, and when the internet is not here, I cannot do anything. And probably there is something today in the air which doesn't want us to be so easily connected. So connections today is a little bit more difficult, but I don't need to go into stress, The first time I fell out, I even managed to go into the comment tracker again, do all while we were talking, without entering into stress. And this for me is a big achievement because I was one of these people who immediately I immediately entered into panic, and it took quite a lifelong training to come to this point.
I mean, we are actually practicing here what we're talking about, right, in live time. And if you can imagine being on a stage where everything goes wrong and then the whole stage falls apart and then you have to build it up again several times. You can imagine how that would feel, right?
Yeah. Cheryl says she could come in, but she has no camera. Come in anyway. We look at your photo. This is nice too. And Ivana, you are invited too, and Mike too. And who else is here? Ashilo too. Come in and join us. So we have a panel talk today without getting into stress.
It would be really interesting to see if we can actually have several people there.
Yeah.
And while I'm talking about noticing, that's also, Heidi has also practiced that because she's noticing your presence there, watching us. And then I think the next step in a plan how to deal with this inner chatter is first to notice, but also say and work with what's called thought stopping. Like, yes, I notice that thought pattern, that chatter is not good for me. And then have an intention of actually reduce it, find methods to deal with it, and then apply it.
You were talking about a guided meditation. Would you like to do that now?
Yeah. It's like when we have, and the third step that I was going to say is to replace the negativities with positive things, which you already mentioned. So there is a couple of things that we can do as to practice. And the first thing is, of course, to practice shifting focus. And the shifting focus is to concentrate on this, but not this. Concentrate on the positive. It's like you're seeing the clouds on the sky, they're fleeting by, and the negative thought is like that cloud that goes away. And if you know that, and you just have to wait and not put attention on it. And so the third thing is like you're breathing, and then that's what I want to do in the guided meditation. And then you can direct your breath to also relax your body, because when the body is relaxed and the muscles are relaxed, it's not so much tension, right? And the tension is really stress that's happening. And so we could do a little guided meditation to illustrate that. Okay. So I want you to focus on something. You could maybe look at my plant here. There's a little leaf here, if you can see it. Any point here, right? You don't have to focus on me, but it could be something in this plant here, or in some kind of color here in the color in the strip here. It's up to you what you want to focus on. So just have your eyes very relaxed, and so you've put the focus way behind your screen. And then you bring it back all the way to, if you put your finger up and you look at your finger, and then you go back into that point, into the screen, and then you go behind the screen. And usually we suggest that you close your eyes. You can do that, but you can still also look at a point. So the first thing is we're going to breathe. And so we're inhaling. We put our hands on the head, and then we inhale and push up. And you see that when you push your elbows out to the side, then you open your chest, right? And then you exhale. And again, inhaling. And exhale. So if you breathe in this way, inhale and exhale, you will find that your attention goes to your inside. It goes inside where the breath is. And then that attention goes with your breath. So your attention is focused on the breath rather than your self-talk. And so when you want to reduce your stress, your self-talk, just breathe in and out. And then I'd like you to focus your attention on your feet. See if you could stretch out your feet and put the right foot right flat on the floor below you, and just feel your toes. And just really sense the touch from your toes, whether you have shoes or socks or barefoot, right on the floor. And then we're going to do the other foot, the left foot, just do the same thing. Put your feet, the sole of your foot, either in a shoe or in a sock, whatever you have on your feet, and then just notice your toes. And then focus on your heels, on the boot, on both feet. And by focusing on your feet, you become more grounded. And then we raise up. We're bringing the breath in from below. And we can imagine that there is a source of oxygen below, and then we can actually breathe it up. Our attention goes to our knees. And we're relaxing this joint, the knees, and there's a lot of often things in the knees from the past that is holding us back. We don't need to go into it now. We just have the intention to relax the muscles in there. And then come further up inside of your hips. inside of your body, in the hips and your lower torso, and just have an attention there while still looking at that point on the screen. And you inhale again and come further up. Then you come to your heart. And then we're breathing again. And usually when you come into your heart, see if you can expand your chest. And exhale. And then I will complete here with being here in our head. And then we inhale in our head. And exhale. And then we bring from above us again, bringing the breath in from the top. And exhaling it again down through our feet. Okay. So that was a very quick little guided introduction to breathing and relaxing. And we have Yassine here.
Hey,
Welcome.
hi. Oh, thank you.
So what is your interest in self-taught?
Well, self-talk is actually what I'm bringing to my customers, actually. They don't know how to take care of themselves, you know, particularly all those business people. All those people with the maturity of life, you know, there's a time they took care of everything, everyone, and then they'd be left on the side, you know. And my first word is like, feed your brain, nourish your, like maybe you will talk, you know, like you will call like self-talk. The words you are using are the most important thing for your own growth, for your own energy, for your own. I'm repeating this because this is how you start a creative energy. I call it. You know, this is how you start. This is how you let the flow come in your life and reach your soul or your spirit or whatever you want to call it. You know, there's no actually, as Heidi, you know, says, there's no definition. Find your own way, like you just did the meditation. Find your own way of relaxing. Find your own way of whatever. It doesn't matter as long as you feel good.
Yeah, that's really something that to think of. What do you say about that, Heidi?
Yeah, I think when people are very deep into stress or whatever you call it, into, you know, this vortex which is always turning around and they cannot go out, then it is very, very difficult to find their own way. And I think we need some guidance. I did, for sure. I did sort of, it was called breath therapy. When I was 27 years old, I discovered it to be very concentrated on small little movements on the body and on the breathing, you know. So the guidance which Margarita gave us, I mean, I think many of us know that, you know, that the breath is a very good way to concentrate on and to reach the whole body, to go down into the body and become awareness of the whole body. Sure, everybody then has to find it by themselves, but I think at the beginning it's very important that there is somebody to guide them. I mean, as I said, I needed it. I couldn't have thought it by myself.
Sorry if I may talk.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, this is exactly what Heidi actually says. You know, some people need a therapist, some people need whatever I'm doing, you know, business life management, because they always like have this leading spirit, you know. So they need like, okay, just tell me how it works. Simplify, give me precise indication, and it will be obvious to them because they will connect whatever I'm saying to their own experiences. So it was like, okay, is it that simple? Yes, it is that simple. But some people need difficulties, so they will go to maybe like a deeper therapist who will like talk about their childhood, their inner child, whatever. Sorry, I have customers who have been raped during their childhood. They will not relate to the child in them, you know, not at all. They will relate to their own experiences, which make them stronger, which makes life brings you to experience you to tell you how strong you are, you know. And then if you don't forget who you are, you know, you will use this strength to move on with your life. and help whatever is around you. Okay.
This is fine, and I want to add another thing. There are people who don't want to come out of their stress because they feel alive, they feel important when they have so much things to do and that they are always stressed out. They are in a sort of a victim position. They want that other people admire them for that, you know. So the mind is really sometimes winded a little bit in a strange way. So who really wants to change can change. Who doesn't want, difficult, because nobody else can do the work for them.
Yeah, sorry, because this is my topic and I love it. You know, I don't want to take the whole show, but that's right. It's like even us, like evolving the way we are evolving. This is because we have interest in what we are talking right now. So if people are attracted to us, this is because they're looking for some answers. You know, and what's really dangerous is like we do not inspire people, we influence them. We really influence them. That's why we have to watch what we're saying and advice we're giving, because we might think there's the right things to do, but this person might be misled maybe. You only give your own perception of how it has to be done, you know, because it happened to me with a customer who was a great advisor, you know, just, okay, do this. She doesn't even know how to take care of herself. In psychology, there's no answer actually. As you know, there's only answer in your soul and your inner being and your spirit. If you find it, all you need to do is listen. This is why maybe like you and people like you I meet, it's like you bring simplified words, just say to tell people, they will understand it right away. You know.
What you are bringing up is very important, I think, because with whatever we do, and even if it is really out of the deepest ground of our heart, it can be understood in the right way, in the good way, so that people can get benefit from it. And some people won't understand it, and they might even, you know, use it in not such a good way. This is with everything which is transmitted. Every education with spirituality is the same thing. I mean, with psychology, with whatever is transmitted can be understood in one way or the other way. We can use a language which is careful, but we have no influence really, not really the ultimate influence on how people who are listening to us understand it. They have their filters, and we cannot influence them, not really. We can try to, you know, get them out of their limited filters, but we have no real power on their development.
Well,
Margarita, what do you think?
Yeah, like I think your word is very well put, and I wanted to note some of the words that Yassine had, and he says about how you have to treat clients, how you have to talk to clients. So I think this focus today is not to treat clients, but to actually look at how you treat yourself. So if we have a business thing, we could do another hangout where we actually focus for therapists how that could be done. That's also possible. But I want to make sure that the people who are watching this episode also get some kind of clues how they can deal with stuff instead of from the body. So I respect your point of view, Yassine, but if you look for yourself, how has your experience and your relations to your own inner self-talk helped you? I would love to hear that from you.
Yeah, this is exactly, actually, whatever we do in life, it's all about us, you know, that's our inner self, actually, you know, and I don't have clients, you know, I just say those are my siblings, which I can share my information, you know, but then all they do is, like they say, they pay for my time, I will say, because they didn't bother, like, finding their own information because they didn't have the time, you know. It's like me, for example, what happened to me, I will say, like in 2011, you know, I was just listening to myself, like, okay, here I am with my potential, and I didn't feel I was making enough money. Okay, what can I do? If I stay here, they will not pay anymore. So what can I do? Leave. leave and find my way, create a life of my own. And then, as you know, as you move on, and then you try to find out what direction you're gonna follow. So, do I be creative in business again, and today the answer is like, just create an environment that matches who you are. That's what we're all doing today. Like everybody, we are in a position where we're using a platform where we could express the being we are. That's all I have to say in a way, Margarita. And
Well, that's really good. Like, if we are authentic, that's what you're saying, that you discovered some part of your authenticity, right? And that's what we want for everyone, our clients, whatever. And anyone who experiences, let's say, self-talk and racing thoughts and symptoms of stress, is like the stress, the resulting stress and the self-talk is a wake-up call for us to see how can we come back to our authentic self. So that is a good comment. What do you say, Heidi, about that?
I would like, almost at the time, I would like to share a little bit an experience which I had, which really got me out of the stress I was creating myself, stress by fear, because I'm living here in the countryside, and in a all around, I mean, I don't see any houses, and I'm quite alone, and I had animals, and for about 10 years ago, or even longer, I was alone. Nobody living with me. I was separated, divorced, and so on. So I had an experience, somebody has cheated me with selling a tractor and so on, and I entered into fear. Whoever came, like that. And in the night, staying alone here, I closed all my house, and so then there happened often that there are noises, in country there are noises, and I often stayed at night in my bed and fearing. And one day I said, you know what? Whatever happens, I go out and see what it is, what I hear. And that night it was a metallic sound, And I went out, and what I saw was a hedgehog who was eating the food of the dog. And the bowl was tumbling up and down. And so for the first time, I really understood, if I stay inside and make a whole story up what it could be, and if they come and if they kill me or whatever, just go out and see what reality is. And since then, I always use this recipe. See what is reality behind the thoughts which are coming up, and stop them when you see that you are entering into a spinning story about what could come, what could be. No, go out and see what is reality. So that would be my closing word here.
Yes, and I have a quote here I want to read to you guys, and it says, this is Louise Hay, if you don't have that thought, you won't have that feelings. And the thought can be changed. Change the thoughts, and the feeling must go. So I think that's a very powerful quote that she have proposed. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think we should close with this quote, because our feelings respond to our thoughts, and we can sort of control our feelings by controlling our thoughts.
Improving.
Okay.
Thank you very much that you jumped in, that you were courageous to to join us here.
Thank you.
And thank you, and bye-bye. And next week's episode will be with Dr. Alan Hong, and he is the spine coach. He will teach us, all us who are, with the shoulders on the computer, with a spine like this, he will teach us some methods how to have a healthy spine and to become healthier and happier by feeling better inside of our body. So please don't miss next week's show of Connections.
So
bye.
Goodbye, and thank you everybody who's watching, and we'll see you next week.
We are still alive. We are still alive. Life